All right. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad everyone's on time. This is amazing. So, first of all, cheers to all of you for being on time. That to me is really the triumph. It's already a triumphant evening. What can I say? Okay. So, good evening. I'm Matt Olin. I'm the co-founder of Charlotte is Creative. Next to my co-conspirator Tim Miner over there. What's up, Tim? And welcome to our second ever power panel. Our first one was in June, and this is our second power panel. I hear some music playing, so maybe we can, yep, oh, it's gone. Okay, cool. It's really awesome, and I can't tell you how thrilled we are to have this amazing panel that I'll be introducing to you all in just a moment here. But you know, Charlotte is Creative, we do grant making. We do it in the form of our HUG micro grants. We do it in the form of through our Creative Entrepreneurs Initiative. And we seem to be always talking about our grant programs and wanting more and more people to know about them and apply for them. But of course, it occurred to us that, you know, there are so many incredible grant makers out there, and we really felt called to pull them all together to make sure that you had direct access to all of them to learn about all the multitude of different types of grant opportunities that there are for individuals and for organizations. You know, what makes a strong grant application, sort of demystifying that process, if you will. And then also just giving you an opportunity, a forum to have direct access and get all of your grant-related questions answered by the folks that have those answers. So that is the whole reason behind this evening's event. Now, this Power Panel series is a part of our Creative Entrepreneurs Initiative, which is supported by Wells Fargo and by Mecklenburg County with American Rescue Plan Act funds. And we're super, super grateful to Wells Fargo and Mecklenburg County for their ongoing support of the Creative Entrepreneurs Initiative. I also need to shout out our dear, dear friends at Wray Ward, Jennifer Appleby. We love you and your team. Adam up there, you know, Katie, Anna, Caroline, the whole team here always makes things so smooth, and we're really grateful for your support over the years. Thank you for that. And I got to shout the Charlotte is Creative team, too. I mean, I already mentioned Tim, but we got Sethu, we got Melissa, and we got Michaela. It is a small but mighty team doing the work of thousands. Okay, so I don't want to belabor this at all because there is a ton to dive into tonight. So I think what I'm going to do is just jump right into introducing our panelists. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have sort of a 30 to 40 minute panel discussion with them where we have the questions. This is going to be our chance to ask questions and for them to answer them. And then we're going to break out into 3 30-minute breakout room sessions. And we're going to describe how that's going to happen after the panel. But that's going to be your opportunity to ask your questions to these fine folks here as well. Anything else that I should say? Do you have? Okay, you have something. Yes, it's a clicker. Oh, a clicker. You have a clicker. Oh, okay. Uh-huh. Oh, can you advance the slide for me? Is that okay? Because I'm like my hands are full here. Yeah, no. Just like teamwork. He's in charge, everybody. No, just for the moment. Just for the moment. Okay, so here we go. I am going to do my best to do this in order. So down at the end, I'll start on this. That is our friend Charles Thomas, the Charlotte Program Director for the Knight Foundation. Glad you're here, Charles. Okay, now we have Patricia Massey Hoke, the Executive Director of the Women's Impact Fund. Hi, Patricia. We have Eleanor Billington, the Civic Partners Manager for the National Endowment for the Arts. Thank you for flying down. And I got to say, thank God we didn't have a government shutdown because you wouldn't have been able to be here. Right? Literally. For now, so for now, we're good, and you made it. Okay, great. All right, next. Yeah. So next to her is Dara Silver, the Senior Program Director for the North Carolina Arts Council. Thank you for being here, Dara. Then we have Adam Santalla Pierce, the Vice President for Community and Artist Support at the Arts and Science Council. Thanks for being here, Adam. Erin Chantry, the Manager of the Urban Design Center for the City of Charlotte. Thank you, Erin. Tracy Russ, Special Advisor for Civic Initiatives at the Foundation for the Carolinas. Thank you for being here, Tracy. Another special out-of-town guest, we have Emmitt Stevenson, the Director of Arts Engagement for South Arts. Thank you for being here, Emmitt. And finally, Priya Sircar, who is the Arts and Culture Officer for the City of Charlotte. Thank you for being here, Priya. And I also want to shout out that we are joining us in our breakout rooms in a little while here. We will also have, from the City of Charlotte, Holly Eskridge, who's the Assistant Economic Development Director. Show your hand, Holly. There you are, right there. So she'll be in the breakout rooms along with Nicole Story, who is the Community Engagement Division Manager for the City of Charlotte. Where's Nicole? And there she is right there. Okay. So you'll be having access to them as well. Okay. So I'm going to perch up here, and we have 3 questions that we're going to ask our panelists for this portion of the evening. And we're going to basically have you all, like, each group of 3 gets to share a microphone. So you'll just, like, you 3 will share that microphone, just pass it around, if you will, and on and on. And each question will probably have to last, your answer will have to be 1 to 2 minutes in order to get everything in on time. There'll be plenty of opportunities, I think, to elaborate on these in the breakout rooms. But this is really kind of to tenderize us all and get us started. So maybe we'll start in the same order. We'll start with Charles. And the first question is, would you please share kind of high level more about your the organization you're representing, so the Knight Foundation, and the types of grant funding opportunities that individuals or organizations can apply for through the Knight Foundation?
Sure, great. Thanks, Matt. It's going to be tough to do it in a minute or two.
It is.
But I'm going to do my best. So, as Matt shared, I'm the Charlotte Program Director for Knight Foundation. Knight Foundation is a national foundation, so we support journalism, arts, in the cities where the Knight newspapers were located. So we formerly were part of the Charlotte Observer. We own newspapers around the country. So the work that I do in Charlotte has a focus in the historic West End. So if you have grants in the area, or if you have projects or opportunities that you'd like to work to advance and provide resident opportunities for residents in the historic West End around Johnson C. Smith University, that's what I do on a daily basis. I'm also a liaison to our arts team, which is based out of Miami, that makes grants in Charlotte as well. The current program that we have is the Arts and Tech Expansion Fund. So it is a grant that is focused on helping artists access the software technology they need to help expand their audience as well as expand their art form. So those are 2 elements of what we do, not including the journalism, but that's it. I think I've answered your question.
I think you perfectly modeled the right way to answer this question in 2 minutes or less.
So that means stop.
Great job. Great job, Charles. Thank you. Patricia, could you answer the same question about the Women's Impact Fund, please?
Yeah, so I'm representing the Women's Impact Fund. We are a giving circle, all Mecklenburg County focused. So we pool our members' charitable dollars and then make grants back out in the community, in addition to doing education and engagement events for our members around social issues, like access to the arts, for example, as well as topics in philanthropy. So arts and culture is one of our 5 big program areas. We do fund institutions, rather than individual artists, but we support a lot of organizations. Some of our recent ones, Art Pop, Charlotte Art League, Chaos Boom, who was VAPA, and I saw Arthur come in. And so we typically support institutions. Our grant cycle is open now. It actually closes on Friday, so this is the most perfectly timed panel ever. I'm happy to chat with folks more about that. We are specifically interested in organizations that are helping increase access to arts, sort of in all the ways. So specifically around K-12 education, introducing and helping young people access the arts, as well as access to space for artists, and then helping artists really think as business owners and leaders and creating access for growth and development in a business sense for artists as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Patricia. Eleanor from the NEA.
Hi, everyone. I'm Eleanor Billington at the NEA. We're based in Washington, D.C. We are your federal arts agency. We're the only agency that directly funds arts and culture in the U.S. government at the federal level. I primarily work with local arts agencies, so some of the folks that are up here tonight, it's great to be here with you all. Right now we have, our grant cycle is closed, but we primarily fund organizations. We have 2 opportunities for individuals, so if you're a creative writer or a literary translator, you can apply for an NEA Creative Writing Fellowship or Literary Arts Translation Fellowship. Those applications are coming up right after the new year in January. But if you're an organization and you want to do arts programming in your community, we have our main funding stream, which is called Grants for Arts Projects. And you can apply within 15 different artistic disciplines, and that application will open in February. And we also have a deadline in the middle of the summer in July. It's usually in July, and those grants range from about $10,000 to $100,000.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eleanor. Dara, you're up with the new mic, too. Great.
Thank you. Thanks, Adam. My name's Dara Silver. I'm with the North Carolina Arts Council. I'm the Senior Program Director. I lead our artists and organizations team. So we're a team of 3. I'm the lead for visual art, film, and craft. I have a team member, Kalisa Ray Thompson, that just came on for theater and literature. We also have another team member, Jamie Katz-Court. She's your contact for music and for dance. We also have an arts and education director, that just closed, so hopefully we'll get them in the next few months. We'll see how quickly the state can work. We also have a folk life person, too, and then we also have a whole team that works with local arts councils. So contact anyone in the agency. We will get you in touch with the right person to talk with in terms of grants. Primarily, we fund arts programming for organizations as well as individual artists. So our grants have closed for last year, so talking about this year, we hope in January to have grant guidelines up with applications due in beginning of March. That's our traditional deadline, and that's going to be for programming for the next fiscal year for 24-25, starting July 1. Again, it's primarily for organizations, so we envision an operational support grant for those organizations that will apply. But what we're also hoping to make a way for is for individual artists or for organizations. And it doesn't have to be an arts organization. It can be any nonprofit that's doing arts programming in North Carolina could apply using a fiscal agent. And sometimes that takes a little bit more time to find those, but we want to make it accessible for those doing arts programming. I'm seeing my friend Jerry right in front who's taking advantage of that opportunity. So we want to try to help you as much as we can. I would actually say fall is a great time to start talking with program directors about programming for the next year, so we can kind of get ahead of all of that craziness when it comes to January.
Thank you, Dara. And I can definitely vouch for the accessibility. We've felt that and have experienced that as an organization ourselves. And it's amazing how accessible, the staff at NC Arts Council is. So thank you for that. Adam.
Hi, my name is Adam Santalla Pierce. I'm the Vice President for Community and Artist Support at the Arts and Science Council. You probably think about the Arts and Science Council's grant making and think about the Operating Support Grant Program, which we were administering until 2022. Now ASC's focus is on grants for individual artists and arts organizations that are providing cultural activity in every corner of Mecklenburg County. Since the Operating Support Grant Program went to be part of the city and the foundation's operations, we've invested almost $7 million in individual artists and nonprofit organizations. We continue to be a partner of the city of Charlotte, who re-grants money through us through the Infusion Fund, through Mecklenburg County, through the North Carolina Arts Council. There are 7 to 9 opportunities a year to apply for a grant through the Arts and Science Council. That might be funding to provide cultural education in the school system through the School Funding Opportunities Program. We work with teaching artists to help them provide curriculum-aligned programming in the school system. Those are administered by artists on a 2-to-1 basis, like twice the number of programs are delivered by an individual artist as opposed to a nonprofit organization. We offer lots of opportunities for individual artists to invest in their own creative capacity through artist support grants, Creative Mecklenburg grants, through fellowships, and the Founders Grant, which was introduced last year. And then we offer 2 different funding opportunities to support community programs. So there is the Cultural Vision Grant Program, which is a more traditional arts project grant, and then the Culture Blocks program, which looks at data about participation in arts and culture institutions and looks at neighborhoods where residents are not engaged in those traditional arts institutions and looks to provide arts and culture activity close to where they live. I have the privilege of supporting a team of excellent program officers. There are 5 of us who can help you navigate the different funding opportunities we have throughout the year. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Adam. Okay, Erin. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, back to the previous screen. Now it's that's not in order, Shefali. I must point out those names are not in order. But feel free to take a picture of that as well if you want. Okay, Erin from Urban Design. At City of Charlotte.
Yes, Erin Chantry, manager of the Urban Design Center. The Urban Design Center kind of has 3 focus areas. The first is ensuring high quality design in the built environment and our infrastructure projects, the City of Charlotte projects. The second is activating and programming our studio in the South End, which is on the light rail and the rail trail, and truly opening that up as a place for community. And then the third and most applicable this evening is our placemaking program. So our placemaking program grants, community grants out every year to artists, neighborhoods, business owners, anyone can apply. We give grants up to $25,000 per project, and this can be for any way that public art enhances the public realm and the built environment. So as long as it can be enjoyed by the community, is visible by the community, and serves our public realm to improve our underutilized spaces, then it is eligible. We also have a creative pool that we open up at the same time annually that is for all creatives in Charlotte. We try to make it as accessible and simple as possible. Just by submitting some samples of work and a resume, you can be in a pool that we pull throughout the year to do city work. Oftentimes people will come to us throughout the city or even external to the city and ask us if we know any artists, and we're able to share that pool with them. So both of those opportunities open up in January and happen on an annual basis. And we're at about our 5th year of the creation of the placemaking program.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Erin. Okay, Tracy, Foundation for the Carolinas.
New mic.
Yeah, breaking in the new mic.
I might be Tracy Russ. Let you figure it out with the list of names. Tracy Russ with Foundation for the Carolinas. The foundation is a community foundation, meaning that the bulk of its assets that are distributed out into the community across 13 counties comes from gifts from individuals, people who want to be philanthropists, who want to make a difference in their communities, but they may not want to go through the work of managing their philanthropic funds themselves and want support and guidance on where their resources might best be directed. And I guess I'll characterize the foundation as occupying 3 basic roles. One is around that empowerment and enablement of philanthropy in our 13-county region. We do focus in on the region, so funds are dispersed to organizations primarily across 13 counties, and we have affiliate foundations that are in some of the counties in that 13 counties. Second role is to catalyze movement and attention towards issues and opportunities in the community, and we do that through the Robinson Center for Civic Leadership, which is where I call home. And those funds are distributed out through special programs, sometimes through grant requests. That would include a program that I'm currently paying attention to, administering, called Beyond Open, which is a small business grant program. Thanks to Wells Fargo for a gift of $20 million that makes that program possible. We're distributing $15 million total in 3 rounds to diverse small businesses, primarily in the corridors of opportunity, and another $5 million or so directed towards building up the small business ecosystem. So organizations that help small business owners, especially diverse small business owners, succeed. And all of this in the hopes that we're helping to build economic mobility in our community over the long term. I should mention that Leading on Opportunity, which is sort of a sister organization or effort of Beyond Open at the foundation, is also housed at the foundation, and along with Reach Charlotte, are examples of initiatives that might be hosted or call the foundation home as an organizational structure in the community. And that relates to the third role for the foundation, and that is as a convener or facilitator, pulling groups, interests, institutions, organizations together to help the community focus on significant issues, significant opportunities that might face us together. We're not the only organization that does that, but it is a part of what we do. And I should say that that is relatively unique for community foundations across the U.S. They don't all do that, but Foundation for the Carolinas does because that reflects the will of the community. And the will of the community is essentially what we aim to reflect. Sometimes we're a lens to focus resources in the community. Sometimes we're a mirror, and we hold up what we hope is an opportunity for truth-seeking, equity, and justice to be found across all the grant-making opportunities that we have. You can find out more about those opportunities. There are a plethora of them across a range of issues, almost anyone that you can name, by going to fftc.org and sign up for updates. They're primarily given in terms of grants to organizations from the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Community Foundation. And you're welcome to get in touch with me, and I'll walk you through all those steps.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Appreciate it. Okay, Emmitt Stevenson from South Arts.
From South Arts. Good evening, everyone. I'm Emmitt Stevenson. I'm the Director of Artist Engagement with South Arts. I've been in the role for about a year and a half. South Arts is about the arts and its ability to build vibrant communities. So we partner with state arts agencies. We partner with the National Endowment for the Arts. We partner with private foundations and private funders to carry out the work that we do across the 9-state region, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, the Carolinas, and Tennessee. I can't believe I remembered all of that.
Good work, good work.
But it's some incredible work that we do, and it's incredible to see all of you here for this. I think we have something comparable in Atlanta called Creative Mornings, but I've never been able to get there, but wanted to always go. So it's great to see this happening at Charlotte. We have over 16 funding opportunities, resource opportunities for artists, arts organizations, and we have one opportunity called the Cross-Sector Impact Grant that partners artists, arts organizations, and non-arts entities. So that can be a business, for-profit business, it can be a nonprofit business. But it's looking to make sure that the arts penetrates into those spaces where we live, work, and play. So that's something, one of the things that we do. Nikki Estes is the manager of that program. We support presentation and touring grants. So we bring artists from outside of your area to perform within your area. We send artists from your area, outside of your area, throughout the 9-state region. And it could be artists outside of the 9-state region. So national artists come and in all of the disciplines, they can participate in that program. We also have leadership opportunities. The Emerging Leaders of Color is a professional development opportunity that we have. We have professional development opportunities for arts administrators, for artists, for curators to grow professional capacity. I manage, again, artist engagement. So I connect artists with opportunities, whether it's regional, whether it's national. One of the programs I manage is Southern Prize. The program that's ongoing is visual arts. So we are in our 7th season of visual arts. We just introduced the Literary Arts Initiative, and we launched Literary Arts this year and received over 488 applications for fiction. So we're going to do different calls each year. So next year it's going to be screenwriting, playwriting. So we're exploring the importance of the written word and writers in the South to the conversation, the national conversation of who we are as a people and how we get through whatever it is we're going through. So that just closed, but we're going to open up small grant opportunities for writers and for small presses and publishers. I think I'm going over my time, but it's a lot that we do. I think I've mentioned 16 grant opportunities that we have. I think we're about to approach maybe 20. We expanded a lot over the last year to 2 years, so we went from a staff of about 13 to about 21, and we're still growing. So we're looking to fill in the voids where state arts agencies can't do it. They don't have the capacity to do it. We step in, fill in the gaps, or bridge the gaps that exist between what state arts agencies are doing and what the National Endowment for the Arts, what federal funders are doing. So I look forward to talking with you when we get into our breakout sessions. We have a lot of opportunities to share.
Yeah, no doubt. And thanks for coming up from Atlanta. We really appreciate that. And we do run the Charlotte chapter of Creative Mornings. So I appreciate the shout out. The Atlanta chapter is amazing, and we're big fans. So thanks for being here. Okay, Priya.
Hi, everyone. Hey, it's great to see all of you. Before I follow your instructions, Matt,
She's going rogue.
No, I just want to take a moment to thank Charlotte is Creative to bring all of us together. I was just reflecting as I walked in here that this is not only the largest sort of group of funding colleagues that I have had the opportunity to be amongst in my not just 2 years in my current role, but before that with Knight Foundation as a colleague of Charles Thomas over here. So that's exciting to be with all of you, and that you've brought us together with all of you. And so this is just very exciting. So thank you all for turning out, and thank you guys for bringing us together.
This is why we call it the power
panel. A round of applause, I think, is needed for this gathering. So I will do a round of applause.
Thank you. That's an allowable detour.
And for all of you for taking time. So hi, I'm Priya Sircar. I am the Arts and Culture Officer with the City of Charlotte. I guess the first Arts and Culture Officer for the City of Charlotte. And I oversee something called the Infusion Fund from a staff perspective. And I do that working very closely with an amazing Arts and Culture Advisory Board. And I would also like, because we have members of that board here tonight, if you serve on that board, would you please stand up or raise your hand and wave? Yes, Charles Shafali, Julie Eisel at the top. Yep. And thank you for your devoted service on that board. And so the Infusion Fund, so there's sort of a couple of roles. One is I'm kind of a point person for arts and culture for the City of Charlotte, but only one of the wonderful colleagues who touch arts and culture work, as you've heard tonight. Erin, obviously, is another colleague who has done that, and then you're going to talk with Nicole and Holly as well tonight. And then my main role is to oversee the Infusion Fund work. And so there are two purposes of the Infusion Fund. The fund is a public-private partnership among the City of Charlotte and private donors through the Foundation for the Carolinas. So we have multiple partners here, and many private donors, including Knight Foundation as one of many. And that is a 3-year fund to stabilize the arts and culture sector in Charlotte and Mecklenburg County, and also to infuse dollars into all parts of the arts and culture community in ways that maybe we have not been able to do prior to the establishment of the fund. The other key work that the advisory board and I and my staff colleagues have been working on for almost 2 years for many of us now is the development of a comprehensive long-range arts and culture plan for Charlotte and Mecklenburg County. Hopefully this is not the first time you're hearing about this, because I know I've seen many of your faces at those meetings and workshops before, and thank you all for your participation in that. I'm excited to be able to share, and some of you may already be aware, working together with the Arts and Culture Advisory Board and Steering Group, many of whom are also in this room. Please wave if you are on the steering group. Yes, Matt, Tim, Joanne, Arthur, others. We have been able to complete the plan itself, and we are working to present it to City Council soon. So thank you all, because you are among the over 3,400 people who participated in that process. So, yes, absolutely. So I share that because on the funding side, there are some things we have offered to date. So Adam talked about some of those, which were operating grants, as well as we've been delighted to partner with ASC to distribute funds for cultural vision grants, artist support grants, and to have seed funded the founders grants that opened last year. And then we also have done an open call for other unrestricted grants in the past. And then last year, we established a first of its kind open call, which was the Opportunity Fund. And you may be familiar with that. Delighted to see some Opportunity Fund supported artists and organizations in the room today. In fact, South Arts was one of the first 2 Opportunity Fund grant recipients, establishing the Southern Cultural Treasures program last year. And so that was a rapid response funding opportunity for projects, programs, or initiatives. So coming up, we are actually about to, now that we've kind of completed the plan, we are turning our attention back to what the upcoming grant opportunities are going to be. And we do have a significant amount of funding set aside for the Opportunity Fund in the remainder of fiscal year 24. So our board is meeting tomorrow to take up that topic again. And in the next month or 2, we anticipate having our next steps for that. So I would say stay tuned for more opportunities.
Nice. Thank you so much, Priya. Okay, I think we'll probably have time to go down the line one more time, and then the third question we'll take into the breakout rooms is probably what's going to have to happen. So maybe we'll start on this end and go back. We're just going to boomerang this thing, okay? So here's the second question, and then again, it'll have to be 1 to 2 minutes, but kind of high level, if you can describe the ideal grant proposal or application, really, what are you looking for as you're reviewing? And you may even speak from past experience at Knight or what have you. So high level with that question.
Sure. I am looking for why is it a no-brainer for this to get funded? Specifically within that, what is the project or what is it that you do as an artist or an organization? How do you plan to do it? Who is doing it? Why is that team the right team to do it? I know I'm saying this kind of fast, so in the breakout rooms we can go into more. So why is that team? Why is your team? Why are you the right one to do this particular thing? Why do you want to do it? And why now? What is the timeliness or the urgency of you doing this now? And if you can connect those dots in a very clear and simple way, that is the most important thing in my experience.
Nice, thank you. Emmitt.
So I will piggyback off of what you said and say, what makes your project and your approach unique? And authentically talk about that in your application. When you submit work samples, what I'm doing initially is looking for the things just mentioned and passing it on to a panel who I am engaging to really do a deep dive on those questions, but also to really gauge the authenticity, the uniqueness, and the value, the impact, or the return on investment that's possible from funding this proposal. So I'm looking for that. Your responses to the application questions, the work samples are dramatically important to us. I hear time and time again from panelists, like, especially for the Southern Prize visual, an artist would submit some really strong work, 9 images out of 10 connected conceptually, but you get to the 10th image and it's like, what happened here? And it just kind of blew the application out of the water. So just really pay attention to those work samples. I think one of the things we want to do at South Arts is really do some professional development to really invite artists in to talk about what makes good work samples and stronger application submissions in terms of the work samples. But for the two cycles that I've managed that process, it's always been a repetitive question. The quality of the work samples is not up to a standard. And it's something that we need to help you with so that not only can you take advantage and be awarded in our competition, but you can step into national competitions. And we want you to place, and we want you to be awarded. We want you to be recognized in those competitions as well. So I think the work samples is really important for me. When we talk about awarding grants, we want to make sure the artistic excellence is there. We talked about some of the merit issues in your questions, but we definitely want to make sure you are operating at a practice that is at the top of it's top shelf compared to your peers who are submitting. So,
thank you, Emmitt. Perfect. Tracy, in 1 to 2 minutes, like your answer to your
Sure.
thoughts on this question.
So 2 things, and ditto to many of the things that Priya and Emmitt have mentioned. I'll begin with very baseline, sort of pragmatic considerations, and those have to do with accuracy and is all the information there that's requested? Because the way these processes work, no matter how great your idea may be and how much time you spent pulling this together, it may not make it through to final review if there's something critical missing, a piece of information, because of the way those decision-making processes are designed. So really pay attention to make sure that everything's there that's asked for. That's dry, not exciting, but important. I think the second part of what I'll say has to do with 2 dynamics, and one is listening, and the other one is including. And by that I mean, we're looking for evidence that you have listened to people that are in the community which you wish to serve or be a part of or collaborate with, and that what you have developed reflects input, participation in the voices of those that are on the ground, might be in a neighborhood, might be in a particular community of people by some certain set of demographics or other, but that the process has included for you coming into this ideas being developed and solutions or ways to seize opportunities that reflect a good bit of listening and inclusion. The second thing I'll say, and I'll flip this back on us because we don't do that enough in philanthropy, I am looking for evidence that the last round of whatever grant program we're talking about, in which we hopefully as a foundation have built-in ways for you to give us feedback, that feedback is reflected in your applications. You can tell the difference between a well-designed and inclusive application process and one that includes listening on the part of the foundation and philanthropies by the quality of the applications themselves. So if you're not able to make those connections, it could be because we haven't done a good job of explaining the program or what we're looking for. And that is often a missing part. So that's not on you, that's on us. But you asked what I'm looking for, and that's what I'm looking for, and I would say I'll pair that with a request to hold us accountable and to give us feedback on grant-making programs as you participate in them, because they will and should improve with your participation when we listen and when we include you in that process.
Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate it. Erin.
3. I was riveted.
So I have a slightly different take. I would probably say the most important thing is that your proposal to us for a placemaking project is based in community. We are City of Charlotte staff, we are public servants, and we take that role very seriously. And so we ask for a neighborhood letter of support for every placemaking project that comes to us to show that this is not just the project of one person, but that it's the project of community. So I would say that that's really important. That's often a piece that is missing from applications, and if we can really see the value of it, we might try to help the artists track that down and build that community relationship, which Nicole's team is really helpful in connecting the dots for us on that. But that is really, really important. We're designers. We think we have a pretty good eye, but in no way do we pretend to be artists. And so we don't necessarily choose to award grants based on the quality of the art because we don't know. It's basically the support that it has from the community. Secondly, a really good understanding of how this project will enhance the public realm. I mean, there's more public right-of-way in this city than any other property owner. I'm looking outside at an enormous sidewalk right now that could be full of opportunity. So really articulating and explaining your concept as to how it enhances the built environment and how you're creating place in the built environment through art, and really being able to clearly demonstrate that is also very important.
Thank you so much. Adam.
One of the challenges, I think, for an artist approaching the Arts and Science Council is that there are so many different opportunities, and they all are intended to support a different element of your creative practice. And what that means is it's really important that you've done your homework and you've read what it is you're applying for. This sounds like so dumb. I sound like your third grade teacher, like saying to you, read the questions before you answer them, to the point of is it a high quality application? Sometimes it's a high quality application because it's clear that this person read the guidelines, the application they're submitting is in the spirit of the funding opportunity, and they've actually taken the time to answer the questions, provide some quality work samples. To piggyback on what Erin just said, again, we are moving community resources through these funding mechanisms that we have. So that is another piece that comes through, I think, is panels, our grants are all read by community panels, and so that means that sometimes they are not, I have a theater background, I'm not a photographer. So there might be certain language that you use in photography that does not mean anything to me, but I should still understand the spirit of your application and how this is going to enhance your creative practice, or how this photography project is going to bring something new and innovative to this community that's going to build a bridge across difference. I think that really is at the heart of ASC's funding opportunities, and therefore take the time, come to an info session, come to office hours, send a draft along to the program officer ahead of submission. I can't guarantee that will get your project funded, but we can help steer you to submitting an application that is in line with our opportunities. I saw you pick up the mic.
You saw me in my peripheral vision? That's an old school move there. Zip. No, but that's it's true to your form as a theater. You got to know what's happening on stage. You haven't lost it, Adam. You haven't lost it. Still got those chops.
I will say a well thought out project, and I mean this. And when I said earlier, contact your representative at the or whoever's with your discipline at the North Carolina Arts Council now, because once we release the grant application in January, 2 months to put a project together is not a lot of time. Because what you need to be thinking about for public programming is what's it going to be? Where is it going to be? Who's the audience? Who are we going to work with to get the folks here? Who are the artists that are going to be involved? All of those things need to be answered. And then we want to see evidence supporting documentation that you've already gone ahead and secured the location. And again, this is March for the next fiscal year. That you've thought about the budget, that the budget mirrors what you've told us in the narrative, right? So if you say you're going to pay your artists this much, we want to see it accurately reflected. I can tell you the conversations that I'm having now with folks who didn't receive grants, I'm seeing a lot of people, because we've got a various amount of artists, kind of the same as Adam was saying. We have community members. They're artists, arts administrators that are sitting on the panels, but they're not, not all of them are dancers, not all of them theater or literature folks. So you kind of have to speak to the masses and really thoroughly explain your project. Making sure that we're paying artists equitably is really kicked up. I have seen panelists not want to fund projects because the artist stipend is not high enough, and they feel that they're having to put in their own time and effort to this project. So we want to make sure that we're paying artists. We want to ensure that we're paying our people, whoever's doing the work behind the scenes should get paid. So that's something that I'm seeing right now that's resonating. Let's make sure that we're paying ourselves. We need to set the standard. And even our nonprofit organizations, we need to make sure that we're paying our staff equitably as well, too. So,
Thank you, Dara. Thank you so much. Eleanor.
I just want to pause for a second and say there have been so many good pieces of advice given out, and this is really hard work. It's really overwhelming, I think, sometimes to hear all of these things and think, okay, I have to do this and this and this and this and this to get the money. I think it's really important to connect with the organization that you're applying for funds from. Please call us at the NEA. We are the government, and so it's tough because, who wants to pick up the phone and call the government? But we do want to, we are artists. Like, the last time when I was on the other side of this job, I would never have called the NEA. I used to work in a tiny museum. I was afraid I talked to them for taxes, But if you pick up the phone and call someone at the NEA and say, hey, I'm thinking about this particular project, they can talk you through it a little bit. And if you do that 2 weeks before the deadline, 3 weeks before the deadline, that person can spend 30, 40 minutes with you. That is what they want to do. The people working at the NEA are artists. Many of them come from the field where they've been on the other side of this doing the grant writing themselves. And if you wait until it's the day of the deadline, it's much less likely you'll get that time with somebody, which can be really, really helpful. Also, the applications that we see succeed at panel, applications where artists are being paid at a competitive rate, is a huge issue that's been brought up, and we see that at the NEA. It's actually in our guidelines specifically for panelists. So if panelists don't see that compensation in the application, it's really rare that those applications are recommended for funding. We also see that with community engagement. If you talk about engaging with a particular population in your community and there's no evidence of trusted partnerships and there's no evidence of a relationship there, those applications don't tend to do very well in panel either. Another thing I'll say really quickly, Matt, is that I am not reviewing the applications. I am the administrator. It is a panel of people, a lot like the people in this room, who are doing it, and that's a really important part about the NEA's process and the process of a lot of these funders up here, is it's not us doing the decision making. So we give the application review criteria to the panelists. They have it in front of them every time they submit a score or a comment. They have to read it and scroll through it. But it's good, and we do that because we want them to remember that that's the review criteria. It's not the aesthetic that's chosen. It's not the project, whether you like it or not. It's that review criteria. So look at the review criteria, and please call us.
Thank you, Eleanor. And I have to also vouch, just like I did with Dara and the North Carolina Arts Council, the accessibility to the staff at the NEA is real. And I invite you to put it to the test because we've had great interactions with NEA. They're always there, and it's great. So, Patricia.
All right. So similarly, I, in my role as one of the 2 staff members at Women's Impact Fund, am not a decision maker when it comes to our grants. Our members do that. So the members who give charitable gifts to Women's Impact Fund are the ones who sit on our 12 to 15 member Arts and Culture Grant Committee and make those decisions. The difference from some of what you've heard is that sometimes they may be people interested in the arts and culture, but arts and culture field, right? Many times they are not. They are folks who are interested in learning more about it, and we encourage them to sit on those grants committees to learn about all the amazing things that you all and many of the nonprofit organizations serving the arts and culture community are doing. And about half the members who sit on a committee may have been on it before. So I say all that to say, for us, I think it's really important. We talk about some of the technical language and really bringing it to a place where the masses can understand. The other thing I would say, because you can hear all this, I have been a grant writer myself, and there's lots of boxes to check. Tell your story. Yeah. We want to hear your story. We want to understand your why and your purpose, and we want the story. If there's an anecdote you can tell maybe about a particular individual or group that's been impacted by the work that you do, tell us that. Help us see what you do, because you don't submit a piece of art or anything, right? I mentioned earlier we fund institutions, not individuals in arts and culture. The second is, what gap do you fill, right? So help us understand, if your organization didn't do what it does, then what? How would our community be different if you didn't do that? I think that's another way to tell the story. So yes, that's what I'd say.
Thank you so much, Patricia. And last but not least, Charles.
Great. a lot of what has been said. So one of the benefits of, I guess, going last in this particular case is that the panelists have really covered a lot of what Knight is looking for. So I'll just try to add a couple of things and reiterate. Finding alignment with, I know it's really tough. There's all these different funders, and we all have different ways. I completely understand. I get that. I used to run a nonprofit. I'm also a photographer, so I've experienced receiving grants, not getting grants, not understanding why. But meeting with the representative to really understand what the focus is and what that rubric is. Knight Foundation also for our arts grants. Now again, I'm speaking from two different perspectives. If you're doing a grant and you want to do work in the historic West End, then come talk to me. You know, if you have a project or an idea to what Erin shared, who the City of Charlotte and Knight Foundation have been partnered in several projects in the West End, then it really has to be resident-centered, and come talk to me. If it's related to the arts, then my colleague is Coven Smith, who is responsible for the arts in Charlotte. We use a community panel as well, so I didn't have any, other than trying to refer and make sure that you all knew about what was happening. I didn't decide on what occurred. But joining Knight Foundation's newsletter list, that's something I forgot to mention the first round. So our cycle for the expansion fund will be around April timeframe of 2024. So you have time. We're about to announce the winners of the second round of funding, if I'm getting my timing correct. That was in partnership with the Arts and Science Council and Foundation for the Carolinas. But join knightfoundation.org or kf.org. Join the newsletter for the arts. Join the newsletter for Charlotte. And that'll be really helpful. And I believe I've covered it all. The last thing I'll say for the Arts and Tech Fund, it's about how will, having this new technology or software take your art form or your impact on your audience to the next level. It is not about what project you're going to do, so it's very different. So individual artists, institutions, this is for artists and arts organizations, not about who you serve per se, but how it's going to take you to the next level. Think about it if you're, coming into the 21st century, where your audiences are and how technology will help you do that. So, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Charles. Okay, so we are moving into the next phase.